This is Charter Local Edition. Brad Pomerance here in the Inland Empire, joined by Virginia Blumenthal. She is still the president of the Riverside Community College District for the 5th year in a row, but we congratulate you, of course.
Thank you.
I want to speak about the 2.3 million students in California's community colleges, 113 colleges. 61,000 of those students have applied for deferred action under
Correct.
the DACA program. President Obama passed this program through executive action, which allows these students brought here by their parents from other countries to remain in the country. A lot of them are very nervous.
Yes.
President Trump has said he is not interested in renewing DACA. Talk to us about that.
Well, we have two programs going. We have the DREAM Act and we have DACA, which are very related to each other.
Right.
California State passed the DREAM Act.
Right.
That has nothing to do with the feds per se.
Nothing.
And we have a number of students that are part of the DREAM Act.
And I believe those students that are part of the DREAM Act can benefit from in-state tuition, can benefit
correct.
from financial aid,
That's correct.
as long as they are in-state.
That is correct.
And presumably many of them are. They were brought here as infants or otherwise.
That's correct. There are certain criteria that they have, but they had been treated like they were out-of-state residents.
Right.
And that's what prevented them then from going on and earning certain degrees. I wasn't sure initially how I felt about that program, but I will tell you after seeing the execution of it, I am thrilled with it. Because what has gone on is many of our students who had never completed it have now have their bachelor's degrees, their master's degrees, and are very productive citizens in our society.
But the challenge for them is that before deferred action, they legally could not work.
That's correct.
Deferred action has allowed them to work while they're in school and after.
That's correct, because it gave them a leg up on getting the proper documents in order to stay here legally.
And the notion was, look, they were brought here as children.
That's correct.
They didn't come here illegally. Their parents brought them here. But President Trump has been very clear. He, during the campaign, has said he is not interested in renewing deferred action. There are about 750,000 undocumented immigrants enrolled in the program.
Nationwide.
Nationwide.
Yes.
220-ish thousand in California,
Yes.
about a third of the nation.
A third of the
Exactly.
numbers that are nationwide.
I mean, there's so many questions on that. You're a lawyer. I mean, now the federal government has a list of these undocumented students. If President Trump wants to deport them, I mean, there's 750,000.
They have a list, yes and no. They don't necessarily have access to that without getting certain search warrants and items like that. In other words, they cannot come in and get our files and our programs that we maintain.
That is accurate, but they can get access, correct me if
Correct.
I'm wrong, to the federal DACA file, those that
Yes.
applied. They
Yes.
know their name, their social security number, their phone number, their address.
Well, and this is where I think that even with a lot of the Republicans that we currently have in Congress, both in the House of Representatives and the State Senate, I really believe that they will be able to negotiate as far as, I'm not talking about the overall immigration
Right.
issue. I'm not talking about overall deportation.
Right.
I'm not giving an opinion on that.
I understand.
What I'm saying is, I think that this program has proven to be very valuable.
I hear you, but let me ask. There are many fans of this program.
Yes.
Lindsey Graham, United States Senator, Republican from South Carolina, no shrinking violet, has proposed legislation enshrining DACA. But I go back to candidate Trump, who said, I mean, there were a few things he was very specific on.
That's correct.
Build the wall, repeal DACA, repeal Obamacare. How does he get out from under repeal DACA? I mean, he couldn't have been clearer.
Well, I think that you can still deal with his issues on immigration, whether you agree or disagree,
Right.
with his overall issues of immigration and still preserve at least a significant portion of DACA. I think if some of the issues, and I'm a Republican.
I know that,
okay?
yeah, and that's part of the reason I wanted you to join us.
But part of the issues with DACA is that we have, as a society, received much benefit from DACA because the children who have been here are now productive
Right.
citizens of our community, paying income taxes, contributing to the Social Security. I mean, we're talking about our community has received benefits from them. I do believe that there will be people who will be able to talk with him at least to preserve a portion of this that has been beneficial to our country.
That being said, the students are scared.
Absolutely, they are.
They're very
and they have
scared.
reason to be scared.
And the California community colleges, the chancellor's written a letter asking the Trump administration to keep the program in place. At the same time, your students are being told don't go to on abroad programs.
That's correct.
We can't guarantee you can get back in the
That's
country.
correct. Be in this country by January 20th.
Wow. I mean, I never
Well,
thought.
that's because you don't know what's going to happen.
But I never thought I'd hear that. I mean,
But that's what we're saying right now, to be sure to protect our students. Now, we are not talking sanctuaries,
Right.
we're not talking that, but we're also in a position that we are not saying, in fact, I know that Sergio Diaz, our
Right.
Riverside Police
RPD.
Department chief, we are not in the business of picking up our students. We are not in the business
Right.
of helping the federal government detain our students.
but let's talk about that, because we hear the term sanctuary cities, whatever that may mean.
Right.
But, you know, there are discussions about, quote, sanctuary campuses. I mean, the UC system has said they will not assist authorities enforcing immigration laws.
Not
LAU
enforcing is different than being a sanctuary. Not
Help me.
enforcing it
Help
is
me.
okay. When you're saying that a sanctuary, no one gets to come in or
Right.
anything. You know, you're talking about a fortress that is there. That's a sanctuary. We're not necessarily talking. We're not necessarily
need our
talking
terms to be
sanctuary.
clear.
That's correct. What we're saying is we're not going to help them.
But
Now,
let me
I
ask
do
you-
believe that
yeah.
there will be lawsuits filed that will attempt to clarify that, and there will probably stay put on anything because it's irreversible.
But let me ask you, you know this much better than I, and I remember learning this in law school. We're both lawyers. In the 1960s, President Johnson was very clear he wanted to desegregate the schools in the South.
Correct.
So what did he do? He said, schools in the South, you either desegregate or we pull your federal funds.
Correct.
Let's flip the script. President Trump says, you either let our enforcement agents, as part of the Immigration Service, on your campus, you either turn over their records, or we pull your federal funds.
Well, and this is where I think the lawsuits, and I think there are sufficient large agencies around that would be willing to file the lawsuits to put a stay on everything, that does not happen in between.
Okay, let's say they put a stay on it. But as a matter of law, I mean, if President Johnson could do it for desegregation, why can't President Trump do it for immigration?
Because I think that there's a big difference with it, that this is the current law, that this has been, once they went through it, as far as they changed the law in 1964.
They did?
And that's when the federal law
But
came
it was
in.
a law. We have an executive action
Correct.
of President Obama.
Correct.
That can be reversed by any president.
Except not the DREAM Act. That's a law.
That's a California.
That's a California.
But then we have the issue of states' rights versus federal rights. I mean, as a
Correct.
Republican, arguably the federal government should defer to states' rights.
That's
That's a
correct.
Republican principle. But I mean, look, the candidate Trump couldn't have been clearer. I mean, people voted on immigration. I mean,
I don't believe they voted on DACA. I really don't. I believe
I'll
that
take
people
that.
voted on immigration, but I don't think they took a look at the various areas of immigration itself. Like I say, I'm not making a statement one way or the other on immigration as a
I
whole.
understand.
I am talking about DREAM Act and DACA. That's a different story than the rest of it. I'm not even too sure when Trump talked about DACA that he really knew what that program was all about.
that's an interesting statement,
I
but I
really-
hear you. I mean, look, his own advisors have said, media, you took him too literally.
Correct.
So maybe we are taking
Well,
him
and
too
I think our
literally.
approach should be, if we can point out to the Trump administration the value that DACA has brought to this country. I'm not talking about other immigration issues, but I'm only talking
H-1B,
DACA.
whatever,
That's
yeah.
correct. I'm not talking about any of those.
Her name is Virginia Blumenthal. She is the president of the Riverside Community College District. We're in the Inland Empire today. We're so glad you joined us on Charter Local Edition.